I no longer have the ability to be sympathetic towards somebody who could fake some form of violence upon themselves because you decide to wake up and not think about the consequences of your actions. You don't think about how this will affect people closest to you. You don't even think how this will affect yourself if you get caught. You only think about the moment. And every single time I've talked about one of these Jussie Smollett clones coming out of the woodwork and deciding that it's their time to shine, they do not craft their plan. And when they get caught, I don't care if it's the same day, week, month, even years later, they don't have an answer as to why they did all these stupid actions. It's always, well, there's a problem here and no one wants to address it. And, oh, there's a problem over there and no one's taking the time to understand it. Oh my God, this group of people is being disrespected and so it's up to me to save them by faking some form of violence upon myself.
I'm an advocate. I respect too much the people who I am now one of those people who have been attacked in any way. You do such a disservice when you lie about things like this. It feels like if I had said it was a Muslim or a Mexican or someone black, I feel like the doubters would have supported me a lot more. And that says a lot about the place that we are in our country right now. The fact that we have these fear mongrels, these people that are trying to separate us, and it's just not okay.
Whether if it's a bunch of dudes going into an alleyway and planning some hate crime that was fake just because somebody was embarrassed they got Subway sandwiches up their ass, or some random Latino going in some parking lot and claiming that 4 white dudes set her face on fire, it never helps the cause. It only hurts it. It embarrasses it. And the more and more you idiots like to do that and defend that and act as if you know that's 100% what happened, you will continue to embarrass yourselves. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to a very special person that is near and dear to my heart. Welcome, the white Jussie Smollett.
It was a kidnapping case that got international attention. A Northern California woman claims she was abducted in Shasta County. Law enforcement and volunteers spending hours searching for her. Then, weeks later, she was found dumped in Yolo County in 2016. Now the FBI says she made it all up to cover up an affair with an old boyfriend. Sherry Papini is now facing several charges, including making false statements to law enforcement and committing mail fraud.
Case Area 3's Orco Man read through the criminal complaint tonight, has more details on really what has just been a bizarre case. Orco.
Well, Galston and Andrea, this 50-page criminal complaint details every aspect of this case, from Papini's disappearance to how investigators found out she was actually staying at her ex-boyfriend's place. Tonight, I spoke to a private investigator hired to find her to get his take on this update. It's the kidnapping case that rocked Northern California and the entire world, but according to federal prosecutors, it was all a lie.
There's a shock factor of just knowing that this is now public, that this is out there, that this was false.
Sherry Papini of Redding was reported missing by her husband in early November 2016. Police conducting a nationwide search to find her. When Papini returned about 3 weeks later on Thanksgiving Day, she had several injuries on her body and her wrists and ankles were bound. She claimed she was abducted by 2 Hispanic women.
That was something that was always odd to me, the way that she explained it.
Private investigator Cody Salfin was hired by Papini's husband to try and find her when she was missing. He tells me there were some red flags to her story, but what made it believable was how detailed it was. That includes even mentioning her captors fed her cream of wheat.
There were such specificity among the details that that probably made it a lot harder for investigators to try to sift through it.
But according to a criminal complaint obtained by KCRA 3, federal prosecutors say Papini fabricated the story and that she was with her ex-boyfriend and harmed herself to support her false statements. Through a DNA test, the FBI was able to locate her ex-boyfriend in 2020 who explained everything. He said Papini contacted him with a burner phone to pick her up and go to his place, and she even created her injuries while staying with him.
Those are pretty extreme measures to take to cover up your own disappearance.
When the FBI confronted Papini about the lie, she still kept to her original story. Federal prosecutors add from 2017 to 2021, Papini's request for victim assistance resulted in 35 payments totaling over $30,000 from the California Victims Compensation Board, with some money coming through the mail. That includes several therapy visits over the years.
You want to believe people.
Salfin says he feels for Papini's family, who are likely still dealing with what they thought was her kidnapping.
That recovery process, I can only imagine, has been extremely emotionally traumatic for that entire family. And this just adds insult to injury.
Here's the part that I want everybody to pay attention to. If convicted of mail fraud, she faces a maximum statutory penalty of 20 years in prison and a fine up to $250,000. Everyone involved in this investigation had one common goal: to find the truth about what happened on November 2nd of 2016 with Sherri Papini and who was responsible. The 22-day search for Sherri Papini and subsequent 5-year search into who reportedly abducted her was not only taxing on public resources, but caused the general public to be fearful of their own safety, a fear that they should not have had to endure. The sheriff's office has appreciated the support and patience from the citizens of Shasta County and abroad. And you know, as much as people want to say, oh, that poor woman, she obviously needed to get out of this, just think of the implications of saying, hey, 2 people did this to me. 2 people kidnapped me. 2 individuals set me up in a van and they were about to ship me somewhere. Whatever excuse she throwed out to make it seem like her kidnapping was real, you could have got 2 people's lives ruined. Just like Smuggle Nuts. He's going around with the implications that 2 people were going around wearing MAGA hats and, oh, they tied a noose around their neck. What if the cops found them and they took their lives knowing this whole thing was fake? Same thing with the dumb Latino that claimed 4 white dudes set her face on fire. What if they found them and found 4 random white dudes and put them in jail for something they didn't do? That is very dumb. These are the consequences that idiots don't think about when they're crafting these movie scenarios in their minds, thinking that, oh yes, this is something that's going to be great. This is something that's going to give me the attention that I need. This is something that's going to lead to the betterment of my group and my feelings. And oh, by the way, this fool used this fake kidnapping and got a lot of money out of it. So I hope that all of that money gets taken back. I hope she pays that fine. I hope she ends up in jail, because that's what you deserve for being a dumbass. Dumbasses and fools like doing things like this. Dumbasses and fools think that in their minds, this is the wisest thing to do for themselves. They don't think, hey, maybe I should just leave. Hey, maybe I should just go support a group. Hey, maybe I shouldn't fake being kidnapped, hate crime, anything, because a lot of people like to throw out, the cops are not going to do anything. The cops don't care about us. Yet they spent, we're in 2022, 6 years, 5.4 years looking for information about what happened to this woman, and they found it. And what happened? It was all bull. So to sit there and say, oh, the cops just never go on the case is complete BS, because you just have an example right here in front of you of the cops wasting their time on somebody faking a hate crime, just like they did for Smuggle Nuts, wasting their time on somebody with a Subway tuna sandwich up his ass. That's it. If you're gonna be so dumb to do all this, at least come up with a better story. At least have some good alibis. At least, for the love of God, do not just blame random people, and then if you find out they get arrested, you got all that guilt in you because you just framed 2 people. So I wish the worst for you, you piece of shit. Your name is Papini and you need to be trapped in a Pokeball. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.